This news update is brought to you by
This is the 7 a.m. Barbados Today update for Monday, September 1st, 2014. I'm Carol Williams. Good morning. We get started with news of a tragic weekend in Barbados, with 3 people being killed. An Easy Hall St. Joseph family was thrown into mourning yesterday afternoon when 46-year-old auto bodyman Andrew Mayers was crushed by a vehicle he was working on. His mother was rushed to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital upon hearing the news. The victim's brother, Kingsley Mears, says he still can't believe what happened.
I ain't sure what happened, but apparently the car was on props, and it rolled off the props and fell on it.
Okay. So what kind of person he was besides out of his work? As a bodywork man, what kind of person he was?
Well, he was a pretty quiet fella, and if you ask him to do anything for you, he would do it. Even leave what he's doing for himself and do for other people.
On Saturday, Rose and Moe of Dinsbury Black Rocks in Michael died after being struck by a vehicle while walking on Spring Garden Highway just outside the desalination plant. Earlier that morning, 24-year-old Darren Brown of Coverley Christchurch was stabbed during an altercation with another man at the Oystons Bay Gardens. He attempted to seek help at the Oystons police station but collapsed and died outside the main gate. Meantime, a 21-year-old bodybuilder is recovering after being shot in his left ankle at Browns Beach last evening. Jamar Tiger Aline of Farnham's Land, Chapman Lane, St. Michael, was training on the beach at the time when he was hit by a stray bullet that was fired during an altercation between some men. On to other news now. Barbadian company Goddard Enterprises has issued an ultimatum to government. The company is telling the Frondell Stewart administration to review the tariff regime or it will stop expanding. Speaking at the 25th anniversary celebrations of McBride Caribbean Limited, one of its subsidiaries, Chairman of the Goddard conglomerate, Charles Herbert, complained that high taxes on imported materials are hurting business.
As long as the future regime for tariffs and duties remains uncertain, Goddard's will not make new investment in local plant and equipment for the local market. And if this situation continues for too long, then we will make these investments in other countries, and the opportunity for Barbados will be lost forever.
Industry and Commerce Minister Donville Innes, who was at the awards ceremony, promised to look into the matter.
I certainly appreciate the fact that as manufacturers and industrialists, you cannot exist in an atmosphere of uncertainty. And therefore, I give my assurance tonight that wherever such uncertainties exist, and they're drawn to my attention, we will ensure that we address them with face because we need Goddard's to continue the expansion here in Barbados. So, Mr. Herbert, I expect to hear from you on Monday.
On to education now. Minister Ronald Jones is accusing some residents of trying to create confusion on the university tuition fees matter. Speaking at an awards ceremony for the Young Democrats Education Grant Program of the weekend, Jones said the University of the West Indies Cave Hill needs time to settle down to deal with the issue, rather than having people constantly beating on its doors for information about registration.
Let the peers settle down. So every day now, for the last 3 or 4 weeks, people have been calling the university. Wait, how much you got in social science? Tell me, you got 4 people in humanities and education? Is that 50% or 35? Wait. All kinds of foolishness. Let the university go through its systems. Finish your registration process. Let Student Revolving Loan Fund do what it has to do. Let us in the ministry recognizing, as said by the Minister of Finance, that we know that there's some people who must be given that hands up. So let's work it through. Let's work it out. Let the university...
She is not yet officially on the job. However, the first female General Secretary of the 73-year-old Barbados Workers' Union is vowing to continue the legacy left by those who went before her. Tony Moore, who was elected on the weekend at the BWU'S annual delegates conference to replace Sir Roy Trotman, says she's eager to get down to business.
I think that I've worked sufficiently well with those divisions to which I've been assigned and have established a significant relationship with the membership to the extent that they can be confident that I can learn quickly, because it will be a learning curve. Learn quickly enough that once the memory or the acceptance of Sir Roy still being the General Secretary is erased, I can build on his foundation and that of Sir Frank, Sir Hugh, and the others who have contributed and established for myself the kind of platform to continue the legacy.
Sir Roy is expected to hand over to Moore next week, Saturday, when the conference comes to a close.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Hi, I'm Red Plastic Bag. Anyone who knows me knows I don't like cold. Sunshine reigns in my country. I love it.
Get your sun power.
Over now to Jamaica, where a shift system is being abolished in 16 schools across the country. The system was introduced in the 1970s in an attempt to increase the number of spaces in schools and to reduce class sizes. However, the Education Ministry says the system has outlived those objectives and has instead contributed to low teaching and learning outcomes. And finally, on the international scene, at least 3 people are dead and 494 injured as clashes continue between police and anti-government demonstrators outside Pakistan's parliament. The protesters, who were supporters of the opposition politician Imran Khan and an anti-government cleric, have been camping outside the country's parliament since August 1st. The protesters were ordered to shift their actions to the Prime Minister's official residence, prompting hours of intense clashes with hundreds of riot police. And that brings us to the end of our 7 a.m. Barbados Today update. We'll be back again at noon. Until then, remember to log on to www.barbadostoday.bb, subscribe to our e-paper and email updates, or better yet, like us on Facebook. You can also catch us on Izumi Media in bus terminals or screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you for the latest news and sports. I'm Carol Williams. Have a wonderful day.
This news update is brought to you by